ang atong buhaton karon, atong limpihan tong ato ang Pernary Garden para nga pagdaghan na sa ato ang mga bisita. So ang ato ang fern daghan siya. Budugang putag tanom sa other area pa nga ato ang katamnan. So na-form ang Balinsasaya Twin Lakes Farmers Association. Pinaagi sa ato ang Office of the Provincial Government, former George Arnaiz. So karon nga ginahinay na og kuan nga nanang ato ang mga ecotourism activity, ato ang guiding, ato ang mga boating activity. So nakalikom na, naka-earn nagpundo ang ato ang Balinsasaya Twin Lakes Farmers Association nga makapadalagan nga kanang kami ragyod sa pinaagi sa amuang mga opisyalis ug mga membro.
Nakasugod kog trabaho dire 2009. Sa pagsugod nako og trabaho daghan ming bisita itong mga panahon na pagkakaron nga naatay COVID, mingaw na tagbisita dire. Kumparar sa una, lahi na gud kaayo.
Kami dire sir pag wala nang turista, wan mi kadumi sa COVID minus mig pring hambuyan pagkakaron. Wala income kayo. Tapos di pumi maka kita og lain trabaho. Napigtahan gud tanan. Sa una nga daghang bisita, medyo okay kayo nga buhi. Karon nga wala na. Luga-luga gud ta ini. Ang gibuhat guro sa nga pagka aron nga COVID pa ta. Dagas og lubi. Ug kabaligya-baligya ra mig inagmay nga manok. Panguhaan sa pingabuyan, tapos na aramay mga tanom dito sa akong pares. Kamote, langhoy, saging. Kabag-abag ro sa pingabuyan. Ay isip mo kayo man tay kapuntahan.
Before na COVID, sir, kuan kanang amo ang maluto dire nami makahurot og mga pulo ka kilong manok. Sa una mao man ni among katong before COVID mao ni amo ang mabutangan og mga order pasunod number 1 hantod unsa nga kuan lugos na mo gani na mo masunod og kuan sir luto kay tungod sa kadaghan. Pagkakaron sir, kuan mingaw na kaayo. Nagani sa iska adlaw walay magpaluto na mo dire.
Alahara ko kayo sa una kay karon sa una magsinubra man ang piningabuhi. Daghan namang mga turist taga laing lugar. Kumpara pagkakaron, ultimo taga atuan din ni. Wala na gani. Ga duty with dire. Anay panahon nga wagoy bisita. Wagi mi income madlag pulis amuha. Sa wala purong sakita, ako motor dire ra gud impas. Siyempre kabulan ako motor, ikas pagkuha na impas dire. Ani ra among bangka-bangka. Kay dagko mutog income. Karon, dugos kita kapalit sa kilong bugas. Ay wa na gima, income na to ini.
Before COVID, maka-income na ay 20,000 sa iska adlaw ra na siya. Dayon karon, gikan atong July 18 nag-open mi dire. Gamay gud may kayog income matag adlaw na aragoy kuan na itag 200 kapin sa matag adlaw.
Karong mga panahon na layo ro guys sa una. Sa una medyo kita sa adlaw, inam hurot ka anos ka semana. Kumpara karon. Daghan po kayo ngubulahan mga kauban ako.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Hayang
Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Almighty and loving Father, Creator of heaven and earth, we praise you and adore you. You are the King of kings. We humbly ask for forgiveness for our sins. Have mercy on us, Lord. We are gathered here today for this webinar to understand how e-commerce is changing the world's marketplace today, and to be able to identify the best platform for local businesses. Send us your Holy Spirit to be our guide and give us the wisdom to understand the topic that we are going to discuss. Enlighten our minds and let your love be upon us. May this meeting bring success and growth to the participants. All these we ask through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen.
Whether it's a location, food, an item, or an experience, all of these can reach an infinite number of people when shared in the digital space. Come, let's learn digital marketing.
Hello, Philippines! Good afternoon! Welcome to the Department of Trade and Industry Region 7's webinar series, Digital Marketing Strategies for MSMEs. I am Georgie Villamor, your host and moderator for this afternoon. You are tuning in to our third session of an 8-course series on digital marketing strategies for MSMEs. Today, we focus on the topic, how to sell your products online. Our webinar is organized by DTI Region 7 to help MSMEs understand e-commerce and how e-commerce is changing the world's marketplace. But before we introduce our main speaker, let us first refresh our minds on what we have learned so far. May I call on one of the participants? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the beautiful Ms. Lorme Collado to give us a short summary on what we have discussed in our second session. Mai? Hello, Mai.
Hello,
Good afternoon. How are you? Okay, Ra?
I feel
I'm
fabulous.
giving you the whole screen. Take it away.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Georgie. Maayong hapon, mga higala. I am Mai Collado, and I am here to provide you a recap or a synthesis of our previous session, knowing and reaching your customers online. So when you're creating content marketing strategies or campaigns to promote your brand, it is easy to get carried away with the creative elements, forgetting the specific needs, desires, and even preferences of your customers. But know that your customers are the lifeblood of your business, and getting under their skin is the only way to engage, inspire, and connect in a way that is both meaningful and valuable in equal measures. Don't forget to focus on what you are selling, but on who you are selling. How would you know your target market? Whether you are an experienced inbound marketer or a new to business, it's very crucial that you know your target audience in order to be effective. If you don't know your buyer personas are, tailoring the content, emails, and other initiatives is next to impossible. Knowing your target audience is the main foundation of your campaign. In identifying your target market, you may start by answering these questions in your mind. What problems does your product or service can solve? Who is most likely to have these problems? And last, are there different groups with different needs? So in identifying a target market, it helps your company develop an effective marketing communication strategies. It is important to zoom in and define the pain points that your products or service address and look into the specific demographics that could benefit from them. These individuals are usually the end users most likely to purchase your product. So when you fully understand who your ideal customer is, what they look like, what are their habits, interests, challenges, aspirations, in fact, everything about them, you'll be much more effective in marketing to them by using the customer avatar. What is customer avatar? Customer avatar is a representation of your ideal customer or a detailed profile of your customer. The avatar focuses on one person and outlines everything about them. It goes into much deeper depth than a regular marketing persona, providing marketers with many more targeting tools. So in order to build a customer avatar, as discussed by Sir Rome, you just need to fully identify the goals, the values, their sources of information, and filling in their demographics. And you also somehow identify the challenges and the pain points and the role in the purchase process. So now that we know that it really requires a fine tuning and efforts in adapting to changes for us to really reach our buyers online. So having a clear understanding would let us stretch out to them, not just by interconnection, but also with the heart. So busa mga higala paghinumdumi, walay customer, walay negosyo. Daghang salamat kini si Michael Yado og maayong hapon kaninyong tanan. Back to you, Ma'am Joji.
Thank you, Mai. I like your outfit. It blends with your skin.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Lori May Collado. She summed up the second session of the digital marketing webinar. So let's start our e-learning session. I'd like to remind everyone that if you have questions or need clarifications, please type in on the chat box. Our speaker will answer you during the Q&A later. So without further ado, please welcome digital marketing expert and consultant, founder of and CEO of Bisaya Digital, Rome Nicolas Bonsocan. Take it away, Rome.
Welcome everyone to our third webinar session here in our webinar series, Digital Marketing Strategies for Local MSMEs. And today we will be talking about e-commerce and how to sell your products online. So here now in 2020, in this year, we've seen the rise of e-commerce stores, of online sellers here in the Philippines, especially in the context of Visayas and Mindanao. And the pandemic has actually brought a lot of changes to the way we shop, the way we buy our items, the way we purchase them, and from a seller perspective, the way we get our customers. Because of the lockdown and everyone's strict quarantine rules, we are limited to actually make do of what we have. Before this pandemic, we've seen the rise of grocery stores and malls, and even now it's still popular, I know. But e-commerce has not been very significantly growing, although it's continuing to rise over the past few years. But this year, we've taken a leap forward with the way we do online selling and the way we do e-commerce. But as we've said, today is the third session, and we've already discussed two topics before: the introduction to digital marketing and knowing and reaching out to your customers. If you want to recap into what we've discussed during these topics, especially in the introduction to digital marketing, we discussed how these strategies that we're doing can actually help promote your products online, grow your business in general. And in the second session, we talked about your customers and how it is important to know your customers, to know what they want, where they go online, how they search their products, because these will be vital in creating our messaging later on. And if you missed any of these sessions, and you can definitely check out our free online course that you can enroll, wherein you can get access to all the videos, to all the Q&A portion, the recorded Q&A, and all the handouts and other additional resources like links to articles, to videos that I've curated for you to actually check it out. Do take note that this webinar will roughly be about 2 hours. So because of our limited time, and I understand also that you definitely wanted to learn more, I curated these additional resources for your own benefit. So if you are not very familiar with what we're talking here, I suggest you take a look into these. And yeah, the enrollment is free. That's bit.ly/DTI7 digital marketing course. So check that out if you missed any of our sessions. And this is the third of the 8 sessions that we will be doing. So we will also be uploading this and the future lessons in the webinars. If you missed any of our sessions, you can definitely just check it out, spend some time watching our videos. And if you're also into reading, so we have the handouts for you. And yeah, I guess it's one of the perks of doing online webinars, then you can definitely check them out later compared to when we're doing classroom setups, wherein you just limited to the now. But here we're also allowing people to make use of their time and just to have a review of the sessions. So it's one of the perks, I guess. But in today's lesson, so we'll be talking about e-commerce, and we have 2 agenda or objectives. First is we will understand what is e-commerce and how it is changing the world's marketplace. The second objective is we will identify the best platforms for local businesses depending on their capability and where their customers are hanging out. Remember last week when we talked about the customers? Here, it's already starting to the application part, wherein we need to know where they're hanging out, and for us to actually sell where the places they're in. So I guess this is already starting to show what we're doing. And yeah, before we proceed with our lesson, try to think of the last item you purchased. What is it and why did you buy it? What was your motivation? Did you saw this product in a Facebook ad, or did you search it in Google, or you search it in Google and then you found the link where it's an ad? Or have you seen this product on YouTube over and over? Or was it recommended by a friend? Or were you intrigued because of the testimonials it was receiving, or because of the rating, 5-star rating, for example? Or think about that particular reason. Or you're just craving to get some ice cream, or perhaps you're just craving to want that specific product. Or were you buying that because you're drunk or you're not in yourself? Think about that moment. Like, what was that reason? Why we're doing that is because that could be a vital way of how we can do business and how we can do our e-commerce purchase. But in speaking of e-commerce, what really is e-commerce? E-commerce is the activity of electronically buying or selling of products on online services or over the internet. According to FE International, e-commerce and online shopping are often used interchangeably, but at its core, e-commerce is much broader than this. It also embodies the concept of doing business online, incorporating a multitude of different services like online payments, booking flights. So, especially with booking flights. Usually people actually buy their tickets from their homes from the website. So it's definitely we're getting into that space already, and with focusing with the local stores, which is the scope of this lesson, we'll go into, for example, online payments. Online payments. Let's talk about online payments before we proceed. We've seen the rise of debit cards, credit cards, but it's still slowly gaining traction. In fact, there are more GCash users now compared to. So one of the apps that's very popular on the app stores and financial apps here in the Philippines is actually GCash. Other than that, there's Paymaya, for example, and for Grab, there's GrabPay, and there are Shopee Pay, Lazada Pay. Like every platform is having their own payment options. Why are they doing this? Because online payments is the way to go. But at this stage, people are still very reliant on paying cash when they already get their item. And that's called cash on delivery. Well, cash on delivery in its essence has a lot of security features. For example, you only pay when you see the item and you trust you yeah, it's less scam. Like for example, there are a lot of scams happening and we've reported that especially here in the context of the Philippines, and not many people are able to distinguish the legitimate transactions from those that are not. The ideal rule is if you don't trust your seller, then don't pay them a lot of money. That if that turns out bad, you'll definitely be ranting online. So that's where cash on demand comes in. The good thing with selling your products in places like Shopee or Lazada, for example, is that they have a third party, which is the website that would make sure all the transactions are legitimate. And if you're not doing your part, then they will not release the money to you. Unlike if directly you release the money to your seller and your seller is not very trustworthy or most likely a scammer, then you're losing that money. So that's already a loss for you. And yeah, back to online payments. So there are a lot of already online payments that are striving, that are continuing to grow each month here in the country. And definitely it's a space that we definitely have to watch out in the coming years, especially with the rise of online shopping, of all these e-commerce and digital marketing that we're doing. But why do people buy stuff online? Why do they like to do it? We have 3 reasons for that. Actually, there are more, but for the purpose of this discussion, let's focus on these 3 reasons. First is lower prices. Because businesses can drop some expenses that they actually incur when they sell offline, like rent, additional staff, manpower. Entrepreneurs can now compete and offer their products and services at a more affordable price than their brick and mortar counterparts. On the other hand, there are currently available apps and software online that consumers can maximize to check for the lowest prices. Basically, what we're saying here is people are price sensitive. People wanted to get the best bargain they can make, meaning they want to get the items at the lowest price possible. For example, have you tried shopping in Lazada, checking for an item, and then the next thing you did was to check for other items at the same check for other items checking if there's a more affordable one, and if that more affordable has better reviews, rating, and also checking other competitors like Shopee or checking out marketplace, because you wanted to make sure that you're buying the cheapest option available. So that's one reason why people like to do online shopping, because they can easily check out a lot of stores at a single, like for a couple of minutes, wherein they don't need to go from one store to another. And that's definitely also, aside from the lower prices, that's already accessibility and convenience. So that's the second reason, because it is convenient. With just a few taps of the finger, a good number of goods and services are readily available to you. Compared to the traditional brick and mortar setup, wherein you need to leave the comfort of your home, travel, visit the store, pay in cash, and then travel again, go back to your family. There's a lot of steps there. So we're cutting all the hassle and allow you to shop from the comforts of your home. That's the benefit of e-commerce. You just need to have a phone, or most likely a phone or a laptop, and then connect it to the internet, to the stable internet that we have. Then definitely it's less of a hassle. It's more convenient for the consumers, and people like to do things instantly. So that's already a reason why people love to buy their stuff online. Another thing is that there's wider choice available. Almost everything is already available online as long as you know what to look for. When a product is out of stock in a traditional brick and mortar store, you need to wait for weeks to replenish their supply. In e-commerce sites, you just need to look for another shop that's begging for your attention. So if you wanted a product that's not available, okay, you check out other stores. And that's how you do online buying, compared to if you're doing that in the physical, let's say a store, and they don't have it, then you look for the competitors. Good for you if you're in a mall wherein all the competitors are in a one place. But what if you're not? Then you definitely have to drive around town looking for that other seller. So that's already a hassle involved. So yeah, I guess these are the three reasons why people love to purchase online. They have lower prices, it's convenient for them, and they have wider choice available. But what are the advantages of selling online? Why do people like to do this? It's because a physical store is not needed. And because it is not needed, you can have higher margins. So remember, like one of the things you can do to actually increase your profit is to increase your margins. As discussed before, businesses can drop some of their unnecessary expenses, resulting in higher margins without compromising their offers. And another reason why selling your products online can be good for you is because you can easily grow your business. The scalability of your business has exponentially grown. So compared to the limitation of a brick and mortar store, wherein there's space, it's challenging for you to actually expand your location. But in e-commerce sites, it's not as complicated. And in fact, it can easily and practically be solved with just less money involved compared when you try to expand your brick and mortar store. And another advantage of selling your products online is because you can easily communicate with your customers, and you can also track their activities, what they're doing on the site, on your how many people are messaging you. You can track all this data. And we call that basically consumer insight and technology. So you can analyze how they're performing. In this day and age, some people believe that data is more expensive than oil. And that's practically true, especially in e-commerce space. Everything that we do online is being tracked. And that's why the ads that we see are tailor fit to our needs and wants. It's now easier to understand our buying habits. And yeah, so because of that, people like to actually to do online business. So that's the advantage of selling your products online. So how about the disadvantage? Of course, if there's an advantage, there's also a disadvantage. One is no one can buy during a site crash. So what is a site crash? It is a time when your website is down. People cannot access it. So during this time, no one can actually make any purchases. So even though brick and mortar stores encounter power interruptions, they can continue to sell their products to their consumers. That's not the case for e-commerce stores. For example, if the site has some security breaches, it could potentially affect your store visits because you'll probably have none during these times. Worse, some of the damages could take days before the issue is resolved. So that's an issue with having your online store. But how can you fix that? Another way is to make sure you're available in more than one location. So instead of, let's say, having your store built in a Shopify, for example, you also make sure that your products are available in other areas, like, for example, Shopee, Lazada, or you're listing your products in your Facebook so people can still do their online purchases even without your main store. So another disadvantage is security and credit card fraud. And yeah, so this is another issue that we can definitely learn from. And this is the security risk is definitely something that we have to eye for. And this is not much of an issue if you are not involved in, if you're not allowing people to purchase their using credit card. So that's where in places like, or apps like GCash or COD in general helps us fix that. Another thing is delayed delivery and not instant. And people and consumers can try your products before they buy. So that could be something, especially it also depends on what kind of products that you're selling. So if it's something that needs to be fit, so that's probably an area wherein it's better to have that offline store. And another is we have price comparison with competitors. Having price competitors, so that means e-commerce is highly competitive. Since it's also easy to create your store, many have tried to open their e-commerce stores as well. And this leads to the saturation of the e-commerce market. And if you want to stay alive in the jungle, competing with them is no longer a choice, but a necessity. And it can be bloody. What I mean is, it is definitely something that you have to prepare for, because price is people are very price sensitive in general, and that's something that you have to consider when doing your online store and online research. And here are some examples of stores in the Philippines. So here are 8 of them, and probably you're very familiar with most of them. But if you're not, then these are some of the stores. This is, yes, you guessed it right, Lazada, Shopee. So this is Grab Food, Food Panda, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook Groups. Yes, you can sell in Facebook Marketplace and Facebook Groups if you haven't familiar with it yet. And Instagram. Yes, there are a lot of Instagram shops, especially with the younger generation market. They like to shop on Instagram. So if that's a first for you, then welcome to the trend. And yeah, in the US, the biggest brand for e-commerce is Amazon. But can you buy Amazon products here in the Philippines? Yes. The answer is yes. You can definitely do that here in the Philippines. But what are the types of e-commerce stores that you can start? There are three types of e-commerce stores that you can start now. Like now. Here is, we have drop shipping. Drop shipping is you don't need an inventory. You just need to take their customer orders and then you allow your supplier to fulfill the products for you. So the supplier will fulfill and deliver your items to your customers. So what you will be doing is just to take in the customers. There are a lot of advantages for drop shipping, like less cost, but there are also serious disadvantages like the quality of products. That's something you cannot control. So you have to make sure that you have a good supplier for you to become successful in drop shipping. And second is print on demand. Unlike drop shipping, in print on demand, you can customize and personalize the products. Like, for example, t-shirt, mugs, and different other things that can be printed on. So that's something you can sell online. Another e-commerce store that you can do is a local e-commerce. This is the main focus of this webinar. We're focusing on this. So I have notes for drop shipping and print on demand here in the handout section that you can download in our online course, but I will not be tackling them right now since this is not the focus of the webinar, but more on the local e-commerce. So here is, you can buy your own inventory, and for local e-commerce, you can buy your own inventory, you can directly talk to your customers, and you fulfill their orders, meaning you have all the hassle. But at the same time, because you can control every step of the way, you can definitely improve the way you do business. So the question is, how do I start? So if you're wondering how to start, we have 5 steps for that. First is you choose your product. So if you haven't chosen your product yet, you choose your product. Second is you do more research about the products, what type of customers they are. And sometimes actually, number 2 and number 1 can be interchangeably. It can be interchanged. Like for example, you start doing your research, what type of customers you want to sell to. So remember last week we discussed about product research or customer research in general. And this is where research comes in. Usually the step here is you do your research about the product or the customers you want. Second is you choose your product. Third is you do your research about your product. And then next is you set up your store. So it could be in Shopee, in Lazada, in Facebook. There are places online wherein you can set up your store. And then the next thing is you need to market your customers. We will be talking about marketing more on the next sessions, especially with content and social media marketing. So stick out to that. And lastly, as you grow, as you continue to get more sales and you increase your revenue, you can definitely grow your business with an online store, and how it is advantageous for you, especially if you're pivoting from a brick and mortar store to an online store. And here are some helpful tips for you so you can get more sales from your online customers. So how can you do that? First is you increase the product's perceived value. So what do we mean by increasing your product's perceived value? What we mean is that we make sure that your products are looks high quality, that people are willing to pay more because you look better than your competitors. That's why investing in beautiful graphics for your product is important. The good thing is we will be talking about tips on how to do better photos, to do designs. So that's something to look out for in our next lesson. And we will also be, another thing for you to do that is to provide guarantees and honor your word. Like for example, for the guarantee, you can have like 7-day 7-day change of item policy or 30-day refunds or things like that. That's something you can consider, and honor your word. If you say something, you do it. And people online are very sensitive when it comes to these things. And if they don't like something about you, they just leave their comments, negative comments on your section. So that leads us to number 3, increase your social proof using real people. Meaning, you increase your reviews, you allow people to have their faces. Like for example, I found let's say there's a store here in Cebu. What they do is they're selling products online, and every time they sell a product to a customer, they take a photo of the customer and ask for their permission. And interestingly, here in the Philippines, people like to be taken photos of and to be posted online. So they just allow them. And that's something that you can definitely work on. Another is you can definitely get more sales from online customers if you increase your prices. So higher margins, better results. And then you can increase the product, and you can make better packaging. So that's something that you can invest on, because better packaging means you can price better. And that's a technique I've learned from an e-commerce workshop I've attended. Like I've noticed that why do people like to invest in better packaging? It's because if people see that if they're getting reviews that they're getting good packaging, then they're willing to actually spend more money for that. And you can definitely bundle your products, especially if you have low cost items. So what you can do is sell it at a bigger price. Sell it as a bundle for you to get better results, better numbers, compare when you sell it as a one item. And here are some advertising tips for e-commerce stores that you are. So one is your copy and creatives should resonate with your market. So what do we mean by this? This means that you have to do your research, and you have to make sure that you're solving a problem. You're making sure that your copy is something that your customers would like. Another one is you find a winning market first. Once you have high profits, invest in high quality products. So this is the testing phase. Like if you don't know what to sell at this stage, what you can do is find products that sell well to this particular audience. And if you already have that specific audience that likes your products, then you can sell them more products. Remember last week when we have this customer avatar and why it's important to have better customer avatars? Because if you already have a winning market based from that customer avatar, then you can definitely increase your revenue and your sales. And of course, if your customer is not satisfied with whatever you're doing, give their money back. So that's something that I've learned, like it's experience over profits. Like if something is not working, then just give their money back. It's just a few hundreds, and then it might be challenging, especially if you're starting and you have this inventory. But do remember that as you grow your business, you'll have these types of customers, but they're not majority of your customers. So that's still a small percentage. And if they're majority, then probably there's something with this specific market, then it's not the best market for you, or it's not the best product. or you might not have a very good quality product. So that's something that you can definitely research on why it's happening. So just a recap. So this is what we've discussed today. We understood what e-commerce and how it is changing the world's marketplace. We have also identified the best platform for local businesses depending on their capability and their consumers. And you can definitely ask me more about this in the, if you have questions, we're here for that. And if you want to access all the webinar sessions, handouts, and other resources that I have for you, then you can check out this link. That's bit.ly/DTI7 Digital Marketing Course. And of course, I'm here. Are you ready now to start your own e-commerce store? So if not, then you might have several questions. And yes, it's time for your questions. So if you have questions there about lessons or topics that we weren't able to focus on, ask them now. And we have a lot of time for us. I made sure that this talk is quite short because I expected more questions from you, especially if the topic of e-commerce is very huge in general. So ask me anything specific to e-commerce, to how you sell your products, how to get more consumers. So yeah, so it's time for the questions and I'll be looking for you. So see you in a bit.
Thank you so much, Rome, for that informative discussion on e-commerce. Once again, if you have any questions or need clarifications from our speaker, please type it on the chat box. For those of you who have not attended the first 2 of this 8-session course series, you can rewatch it on DTI7's Facebook page and search for the video with the title E-commerce, How to Sell Your Products Online. All right, let's proceed to our Q&A. I'll shoot the first question, Mr. Rome.
Okay.
The first question is, what's the average cost of setting up and maintaining an online shop?
Okay. If you wanted to create your own online shop, you have to decide what platform you want to use, whether it's Facebook or you want to go with Lazada or Shopee, or you want to build your own website. Like for example, Shopify, that's a platform where you can have your own store. Then it's cheapest if you go with your own Facebook page. For example, you want to sell either on Facebook or Instagram, it's cheapest there because your expenses will just be mainly on marketing, like how to take your better photos, marketing, but mainly on the platform itself, you're not paying anything. Now, if you want to go with Shopee, Lazada, or other online places, basically you're just renting a spot there. Then you're giving them like a percentage of your sale. It depends on how much your goods at, but it's just a small percentage. You can definitely check out on this specific store how much that amount is. But compared it to, for example, having your own shop, like for example, you have a Shopify store, then that would entail a much bigger rent there. But the good thing about selling in Lazada or Shopee or Shopify, there's a lot of automation in place. So the higher cost would mainly help you with how you do your business, how you set up your store. It's less hands-on compared when you spend it. For example, you have your own Facebook shop, then most likely all the deliveries, all the order processing, you do it by yourself. You pay people for that, or you do it by yourself, or you have a team. Then on the platform itself, you're not paying anything, unless of course when it's time to promote your product, and then you may be paying for Facebook ads, for other resources. So the cost can yield to about I guess you can start with definitely zero, like 0 pesos. You do everything organic. Organic meaning you're not doing any Facebook ads. You're just posting it on Facebook, sharing it or adding it.
Doing promotions first.
Yes.
Letting everyone know about your product before you actually sell it.
Correct.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. What I'm trying to say is you can definitely start with with just your products, and you're not paying anything for the platform. But as you grow your business, you want more automations. You wanted to lessen the human error. So basically, you wanted to smoothen things out. Then you started paying with a few thousands. Then depending on how you want to set up your store and how much basically customers you're serving, so it can go with that. So it can start with
Mhm.
0%.
So, what is the simplest and most effective way to drive customers to my online shop or
Okay.
website?
Yeah. So if you have a website or
That's for
you
the
have,
first timers here.
yeah, for first timers, I think the best and the most effective way to drive traffic is to know what your customers' problem are. So, unsa ilang mga customers' problems? Like as we've discussed in the last lesson, like knowing your customers, wherein we discussed what are the problems of the customers, what are their wants, what are their needs. Then if we solve their problems, if we have a product that is solving their specific problems, then that would definitely mean that they're on track to clicking what we're saying. But it helps if we have better messaging, the way we create our content, and also if we have better graphics, like photos, taking photos of the products. So getting better creatives, graphics, content would definitely encourage them to click on our ads and on our posts.
Here's one question from one of our participants. There are so many digital platforms now. In your experience, what platform do you recommend to start digital marketing? The best platform for first timers?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what business you have in, but I guess for local MSMEs, like for those with minimal capital and they just wanted to get out there, I can recommend having your own Facebook page. Then not just necessarily a page, but you try to list your products on the Facebook Marketplace. You try to sell on the Facebook groups. Like you can start with there, and basically we're going organic because it's basic. We're just wanted to sell our products to. It also depends on what products we're selling. Because if we're selling food products or products that are kind of mga silingan would like to, then it would definitely be helpful to definitely use Facebook and just go organic with it. And then as we expand, as we want to get more customers, then we can explore other means and for marketing.
Let's say I am an employee at the moment and I want to make a sideline online shopping or online selling.
Yes, miss.
And I'm asking my sister or my brother to watch the online shop. What do you think? How much control should I have over my online shop? Is it okay if I give it over to my sister or brother to watch the online shop?
Okay, so you mean, miss, na you wanted the online shop to be handled by someone you know, Marina, na
Yes,
it depends on how much trust you have for that person and how much access that they need to do. Do they need also to process all the orders, the payments, and everything? Then if yes, then you might need to give some admin access to them to be able to see what's going on, and they can do it themselves. And it also depends on which well, the good thing with having all these platforms for e-commerce is you can specify certain controls depending on the responsibilities your team needs to have for them to access all of these information.
So do I need to oversee my online shop from time to time or every day or once a week just to make sure that everything is in good order, everything's in order and no problems?
On what, for example, you assign tasks to people to handle the shop. you can actually ask them like to give you daily updates or weekly updates, like how much are we getting, how much are we selling today. And the good thing also when it comes to reporting, most of the platforms like Lazada, Shopee, or Shopify, for that fact, they already have built-in tools that you,
Mm-mm.
so you already know how much is being sold today, last week. You can even have like monthly view, like how much did we sell the entire month last
Mm-mm.
month, yeah,
Mm-mm.
things like that. So basically the reporting is already built in the system. So you just need to be familiar and how to use it. And once you're already familiar with it, then you can definitely check them as often as you'd like.
Okay. Tell me the major reasons why I can lose my e-commerce sales. What do you
Yeah.
think are the major reasons?
Okay, so this is an interesting question because it's a fact that in e-commerce you either go up or you go down. Less of the times that you have stable orders for the entire year, and
Mm.
one of the reasons why you're losing customers is it depends on the season, and it depends also on your product. For example, you have products that are good for educational supplies, for example. So at the start of the class, you're probably seeing some peaks there, but for the rest of the year, you might be seeing some decline in your product sales. But if you have products that are best for Christmas or the holiday season, so you might be seeing now an increase in all your sales. But usually the dry months, these are attributed to either less marketing from your end. So what you can do from your end, if you want to get more activities, to get
Mm.
more people going, is you create some sales during these months wherein there's not many customers. Then just keep your marketing continuous. And another factor also is your competitors. It's a tendency for us Filipinos or anyone in general that if we find someone doing their business successful, then we tend to copy, to replicate what they're doing. So that's a
Very
common
Filipino.
that's a common trait, especially with
Yes, yes.
physical stores, but even with online stores, like people are already doing that. You're selling face masks, so I'm also selling face masks. So everyone's selling now face masks. So most likely by the time that everyone is already selling a lot of face masks, there's a tendency that you're not getting as much customers as you had when you started, that you're the only seller in that place.
Yes, yes, true. Here's a specific question. We are a dried seafood social enterprise based in Bantayan Island. Our products are a bit pricey. How do you market expensive bulad considering that we are in Cebu and bulad is everywhere?
Okay. I can answer this on a personal level. Like, I love Buwad from Bantayan. Like, when we visited Bantayan, I think when we had this event last year, then I purchased a lot of pulad and did mind the cost because I was a tourist. I think most of the target market for this
The
kinds of
tourists.
dried seafood and are actually tourists, and they don't mind much about prices. They have the capability to pay, and they don't compare these prices to actually how much how much ang ilang makuha when they purchase it from their own places, because most of the times tourists are actually a great source of income for things like this, like bulad or any delicacies or products that your place is known for. Like, for example, I'm from Karkar, so we have chicharon, lechon, and and other things. And actually, if we're from Karkar, then we find these products not maybe a bit expensive, but actually there are cheaper options also available for the locals. But for those people who like better quality, then they would not hesitate to purchase, to spend more money. So what you can do with this to market this is you can have this from an angle of tourists or pasalubong to their families when they get by. Then I think that definitely can sell. And the good thing there is for example, if you want deliveries, so that's also another issue. Like if I'm a tourist, then usually that's physical selling. Like it's easier done than online. Like for example, the question here is, am I willing to buy, let's say, buwad from Bantayan, and I'm here in Cebu City? So will it be delivered to me? So I assume yes. So how much is the delivery fee? So that's another option. Then I think what you can do is you can bundle them up. Then the higher the prices already, so you can give them discounts. Then you can give them free shipping or things like that. So I think that's one option.
Okay. Are there available data online where we can get the customer profiles that we can use in making future marketing decisions? Not by
Ah,
available data.
okay. Yeah. So data. I think when it comes to data of your customer profiles, I think there are sites. I'm not very familiar with the sites wherein you can get customer profiles. Usually, you can get templates on how to create these avatars. Usually, it's also like some of these things are not really shared by business owners on their pages. But what you can do is you can study your competitors, check their messaging, how are they positioning their brands. Then from there you can definitely get some ideas to who are they selling to, and you can definitely use these information to build your own customer avatar and try to replicate what works for them. So I guess that the best way to get that data is to check your competitors and see how they are marketing, and maybe you can get some ideas for you to actually improve your own digital marketing strategy.
Okay, here's another question. How do you prove online that our business is legitimate?
Yes.
Is it okay to post our DTIBN business name, business
Okay.
permit, and BIR registration online?
Okay. Usually, I've seen like legitimacy is sometimes like if you're issuing receipts, then you're most likely legitimate. But if you wanted to showcase like how trustworthy your business can be, aside from your own business permits, what you can do is you can actually get some testimonials from your customers, like how many people have you helped, because these things actually are the real things that matter to customers. So although what you can do is you can definitely share some information there in your about section, like your registration number, or if you'd like that, that's also okay. But to add it to every post, it doesn't really make sense for me. But you
Yes.
can test it out if you'd like. Then you can test it out, which but sometimes when you try to make captions for several posts, you don't want it to be too long. So you want it to be short in such a way that it can easily be consumed by your audience.
Okay, for food items, which do you think is the online platform to use
Okay.
for food?
So yes, for food, and you're selling it mostly to people nearby. Actually, I'm personally a user of food apps like GrabFood, Food Panda. So I buy from these apps. So because there's convenience involved, as I mentioned in the discussion earlier. As long as it's easy also to find what are the choices available, and if I can't find from there, then only then I'll try to see if they have a Facebook page, if they have their own apps. But usually you can definitely check out several apps, food apps in your area if you already have. But if you don't have one, then you can also test Facebook Marketplace. So that's an area that you can explore. Or if you have groups, food groups in your places, specific, for example, mga Cebu food shops or things like that. So you can try to post it there, then follow their guidelines. Then definitely people nearby would find out about you. And if they like your product, then they would definitely contact you for more info.
Okay. So here's another question, which I think everyone would be interested. How much time will it take for an online business to be successful?
Okay, what is your definition of success?
Kanang daghang sales.
Direct sales. You can definitely, what we do with having our own business is we try to have quota per month, or let's say targets. We can call them targets. Like for this month, we can start targeting, like if we can sell 10 items of the same brand. So what we can do is we try as much as possible to do marketing campaigns that would sell our products. So that's on a month to month basis. And it's also understandable that there may be some marketing campaigns that we do. Like there are months that we are actually performing better than the other. So we can then test it out. What change did we do this month compared for the rest? But we have a tendency to actually just continue doing what works and then add on top of that some experiments that we can do. But I guess, for example, for your definition of success, let's say you can be able to sell, let's say, 100,000 worth of products. So it also depends on your product, and it depends. So there are a lot of variables here, but you should be able to see some success in general, like in a month or 2 or 3. Like especially if you're selling products that aren't as expensive. Like for example, you're just selling food products to your locality, so you should definitely be seeing some profit or revenue in a week's time or so, like after doing that. But if you're selling higher ticket items or products that costs mas mahal gid siya, then that would take longer time for you to sell. Like for example, you're selling, let's say you're selling a real estate, a house and lot. So it might take more longer time compared when selling, let's say, a fishball or siomai sa tisa. So there are a lot of variables in place. So the best way to find your success is to have your own metrics and just do your monthly goals and iterate, improve month after month.
Speaking of success, what do you think are products that would sell easily online?
Food. I think based on this conversation, food is definitely something that can easily sell.
Easiest.
Yes, but it's also highly competitive as well. So the thing about easy products is it's also competitive. So you might need to have your own unique selling proposition, your own advantage that others are not that aren't doing great. So you pitch on something, then you can definitely iterate that. But food is definitely a best selling product.
Okay. Here's also another specific question. I'm a plant and gardening enthusiast, and I'm considering selling some plants online via social media.
Yes.
How do I attract a market or buyer when there are many plant sellers online already? How do I differentiate my plants from competition, especially if they're all the same? Sa mga tanong daw, among ginabaligya. I don't want to lower my price too low either against competitors.
Yeah. I think the issue there is you don't want to lower your price. I just want to clarify that price isn't the only variable that you can experiment on. If you should definitely have your own like minimum price for all your products. Then if you're starting to sell stuff online, you don't, as much as possible, sell it at the lowest price possible. You try to extend it a bit so that if it's not working, then you can give out some discounts. And even though it's still giving out discounts, you're not actually losing any profit, minimum profit that you can earn. So as a business owner, you should be able to understand these things, like how much am I willing this to sell for at the lowest price. But as much as possible, you shouldn't sell anything at the lowest price possible that you can offer, so that you can still get some you can offer discounts to your customers on a later date, especially with e-commerce that it's very competitive. But to answer the other question regarding selling your plants or selling any products in general that is highly competitive, what you can do is try to have one way is try to have better idea of who are you selling to. So with plants, usually we're selling to everyone who likes plants. So that's our answer. So for those plants, probably but you can specify some reasons, like who are actually these plant buyers. Are they millennials? Are they Gen Z? Are they parents? So if you know these things, then you can have better messaging. You can experiment with better messaging. And also, one way to sell your products is to get testimonials. We've said this over and over again, but getting testimonials, if you can take a photo of your customers and they allow you to use that photo, then you can definitely use this and post this in your social media to get some social proof. Because social proof is one of the things that you can do better than what your other competitors are doing. Because if actually customers don't care so much about your competitors, what they care is about their experience with your brand. So aside also from selling, what you can do is you have better support. Like if they ask questions, yeah, you can be able to answer much faster or at a better response rate. So that's other factors that can help you improve compared to your to improve your brand in general. So
Nailaing kwan nagsell og laundry products.
Okay.
It is ingon siya nga, Sir Rome, we are selling local laundry products. It is just a family business and small workforce. Recently, we focus more on B2B in terms of online. Mostly, some would inquire for just personal use, so they will just buy small quantity. Is it practical to cater to their orders, considering the time and small workforce we have right now? What can you suggest?
Okay. So okay. So there's now this B2B and B2C. Which one are you willing to do and willing to compensate with on work first? Then in business in general, you wanted to do the things that give you the most revenue. Then sometimes also if B2B for you is already working, I guess then you can focus on that. But if it's just starting to slow down, then you can iterate and let's see what you can do with B2C. Although you have to also keep in mind that doing B2C may actually be challenging, especially with the cost of operations. Like, isa lang ka product si customers, but daghan kay siya demands compared to B2B nga. So, if inani na gani ang case, what you can do is try to see if there's anything that you can change in the way you're selling these products. For example, having minimum orders, like you allow to sell to customers, but they have to purchase at least 10 items. That's what you can do. So if you're selling it at a bundle, then you probably have this price already in mind. That if you allow them to purchase in smaller quantities, then probably they can do that at a higher cost. So in that way, when they see the individual products mahal, so they have this tendency to buy the bundle instead. So, and your goal here is to actually not sell the individual products, but to sell the bundles. But if they would buy the individual products, then you're getting so much higher revenue for that compared to selling your bundles. That's one way to do it. But if you have very small area for negotiations, or for your manpower, then you can just focus on the highest revenue earning of your business, which is B2B in that case.
Okay, here's, I think, the last question. What functionality does an e-commerce platform need to have for my online store to be successful?
Okay.
Let's say dapat within sa online store na ko.
Okay. So, unsay mga features sa online stores?
Yes,
Again,
yes.
there are a lot of features with online stores. So, tagsa-tagsaon na to sila. Just in case, if you have more questions, please ask them. So, we still have quite a time for that. But I'll answer this question on as thorough as I can. Okay, so what are the features of an online store? So one of the features of an online store is the ability to send a message, to converse with directly to the supplier. It's different thing. Like for example, you post, let's say on social media, you post on Shopee, and then they can just comment there. It's a different thing when they send you a message, because in sending that message, it's that one-on-one conversation with your customer, and this is where you can showcase to them the experience, the brand experience they have with interacting with your representative of your brand. And the better salesperson that you are in answering to their demands, to their questions, then they're more likely to trust your brand, and they can become your customers. And if not now, they're just in the area of looking for choices, then you can give them the best customer service, because having a great customer service for any brand is one of the secret for actually growing your business. Because we might never know that one of these customers can actually become your potential business partner, or they can there are a lot of opportunities, there are a lot of areas that we can do with having a great customer service. And also when they send messages to you, and what you can do is, what you can ask for the platform is, do they have the ability to automate the replies? Or for the usually kung customer ka, you have already default questions. How much is the price? Where is your location? And you don't necessarily need to have humans answering all of these. What you can do is create an automation in place that answers all their basic questions. Does your platform have that capability? So that's something that you can check out. Another feature is how can you show some discounts to your customers? Like for example, if a customer purchase now, then their second purchase, you can give them a discount code. Like they can get like 5% discount or 10% discount on their second purchase. Does your platform have that feature to automate these, or you have to do all of these things manually? Because if you're doing these things manually, then it might take time and might be difficult for you to scale your business. Another also feature that you can check out is, are you able to give reviews? And if these customers are giving reviews, what type of reviews are they giving you? Are they just allowing text-only review, or they can record a video, send you a photo? And the good thing is most of the e-commerce platforms already have these features. What you can do as a customer owner is to utilize these features and take advantage of these to actually make your business stand out from your competitors. I think kato lang, miss.
Okay, sige. One more question.
Okay.
Do we really need to focus on our market niche, or can we go general market to increase our sales, especially if we are a new brand?
Okay. Yeah, that's a nice question. Especially, it's also that's why last week we had this exercise to actually as much as possible create at least two market segments in mind. What we want to do is we have to test out which of them works better or gives us better results. And the tendency to go general is, for example, you have a general store and you're selling anything. then you can definitely be selling now. There's this thing in e-commerce that you just wanted to, or any business in general, then are you just aiming for a sale, or are you aiming to get a sale and scale your business? The thing with having a general store is it might be difficult for you to scale because you don't know what products to add, and if you have several products on the store that aren't making sense, or for example you're selling a rice cooker and at the same time you're also selling a water bottle, or although they're all home appliances, but for example, you're selling two different products in a store, or all of these products don't make sense, then it might be difficult for you to cross sell, because cross selling in e-commerce is one of the best ways to actually increase your revenue. So you can ask your customers, or you can promote to them other products they find on your store. Like for example, if you're a tech store, like you're selling gadgets, so you can sell them other things related to gadget, because these customers already know you for one thing. So in case if they have other problems related to that main problem, then you'll be the top of the mind brand for them. For example, I have this phone that I'm using. It's an Android phone. Then I already like the brand, and when I already have the phone, then I was looking for, let's say, a headset. This happened last Saturday. So I went to I went to a mall, and there's already a lot of headsets available. But I was able to remember that I already liked the brand of the phone that I have. So I had this. So I was, and that actually encouraged me to actually buy the same brand of headset, and it worked. Like I've already noticed that this specific brand have great products. So that can also apply to your own e-commerce store. Like if you're known for great things and it's already niche, then your specific target market, if they need if they need more products that solves related problems, then you'll be the top of the mind. So that's cross selling. So these things will definitely help you to scale your business month after month after month. So that's the difference between selling to a general market and selling to a niche market.
Yeah, okay. There's a question here about drop shipping.
Okay.
Can you tell us a bit more about drop shipping, and can you elaborate and state examples of drop shipping? When is this best used?
Okay. So yeah. So I discussed earlier about 3 types of e-commerce, like drop shipping, print on demand, and I talk mainly about local e-commerce. But I think I was in the handouts, I discussed more about drop shipping and print on demand. But I'll give you an overview right now of drop shipping. Ikaw, Miss, are you familiar with drop shipping?
No, that's why I'm also interested to ask you.
No problem. So drop shipping is you don't have a store. So what you will do is you will just accept customers, and for the customers, they're buying their products from you. But what you're actually doing is you're connecting to a supplier. So if let's say me buying a product, I bought a product from your store, but what you will do is you'll send me to your supplier, and that supplier will do the fulfillment and the delivery. So inana siya. So ang imong role as a store owner, as a drop shipper, is you just accept customers. So it's less hassle for you. So and then you if you already have their contact info, you send that to the supplier, and the supplier will send the products to your customers. And the good thing there is your problem as a dropshipper is mainly on getting customers. The challenge there is getting the good quality of products, because you are not your supplier, so you have to make sure that your supplier is selling something really nice, or they have good quality, or else then
so you have to know the product first.
You have to make sure that your
Yes.
customers are getting good products. Or else, if something bad happens to their orders, they're not gonna, di sila mo reklamo to the supplier.
Supplier.
Ikaw, ikaw ang bahala. Yeah, you're the face of the business. They don't know about you doing drop shipping. They just know you're selling the product. So it's your brand. It's your brand at stake. So in general, you can definitely try drop shipping. There are other success stories here in the Philippines. Like there are local drop shippers, especially with Shopee.
Can
and
you give
Lazada.
an example?
I'm not actually. There are stores in Shopee and Lazada, especially that are there.
Mhm.
They have centers in China. So some of the products that are based in China, actually, those aren't Chinese selling them, but they're Filipino dropshippers. So they're just suppliers from China. So they send these products to your home. So you don't need to know about all the supplier information. So you just need to be in contact with someone selling that product on Shopee, for example, or Lazada. So in a nutshell, that's how dropshipping works. So it's less hassle from your end, but if something goes wrong, something goes bad, then it's your
It
brand.
comes back to you.
Yeah, you handle all customer
All the
complaints.
problems.
Yes.
Okay.
And if something goes wrong, then you might have to return their money. So that's already an expense from your end because you already sent all these shipping costs, and that's already a part of the cost of your business. So it can be risky. But what you can do if you want to learn more about dropshipping is there are also online courses available for sure. You can check out these online courses and learn about the advantages and disadvantages of drop shipping and learn more strategies on how to make sure that to actually increase your chances of getting successful in drop shipping.
Okay, those who are interested in drop shipping, na daghan interested kay murag tulo naman diri nga examples nga
Okay.
mga pangutana. So that's it, bro. Wa nay lain nga ni come in nga questions. So let's end our Q&A. Or would you like to
Do you
add?
have, sige, sige, I have some words. Just in case if you have questions, you can ask them. For example, I think one of the things that I did not discuss much in my lesson earlier is about fulfillment, like delivery options. One of the things that you should know is, for example, if you're selling on Facebook page, for example, you need to do all the delivery by yourself. But if you're selling in platforms like Shopee or Lazada, they already have the deliveries in place. So it's lesser hassle for you. So if you wanted that style, like I have a friend who's just started her own Shopee store last weekend. Then we talked before about how to do e-commerce. Like I gave her some tips to actually check out. They can start on Facebook or in Shopee or Lazada, and based her or own research, she was able to actually find Shopee the best platform for her to start. So it can also be Lazada, or if you're selling food, it can be Grab Food or Let's Eat Buy or Food Panda. But basically, the thing here is you need to do your own research to actually find the best platform for what product you're selling. So going back to my friend, so she started her own store, and one of the things that she told me is she was really happy to see that she can automate a lot of things in the end. Like for example, for delivery, a courier will go to your house to pick up the product, and they will also send that to your buyer. So it's less hassle from your end. You just have to take in customers, but you have the supply and you control all the quality of your product. And once you send that to your buyer, so uh, the courier will already get that from you, and you don't have to do all the manual going to the LBC, going to JR or what other platforms nga to sell all these products. So that's less hassle. So you definitely have to consider all these available resources in e-commerce that we have, and see if there are fit out there. So don't be afraid also of pricing. Like one of the things, especially for MSMEs, is the way these businesses price their services. Like for example, for Shopee and Lazada, they have this around 3% more or less. They get this part in your how much the price of the product is. Consider all these minor expenses part of your business expenses, because probably you're hesitant to do that because you don't want to give in that much money to them, and you prefer doing it free when you can do it for free on Facebook. But comparing it to when you do that on Facebook, wherein you do all the hassle in place and everything, then it's called convenience fee for a reason. So these e-commerce platforms are businesses. They're also there to make money at the same time. So from your end is you just have to check all these amounts. Are you ready? Are you willing to give out these specific amounts to them as part of your business costs? And that might actually be also reconsider how much your product prices are based on your competitors, based on your business expenses. Then it's definitely something that you can work on. And as I've said earlier in the discussion also, that having your physical store may be much more expensive than doing an online store, because again, people are saying that you can have your online shop for free. It's not always the case, especially if you want to grow your business. If you want to make money, then you need to expand a little bit. But the thing here is it's still more affordable compared to, let's say, having your own place in the mall. And if you want to expand, you need a bigger location. So how much would that cost? Compare that to when you do online and you want to get more products, or increase the bandwidth of your website to receive more customers. You can do all these cost benefit analysis and see if it's something that you can afford, that you're willing to give in. And I guess that's one of the tips that I can share, especially if you just started your own e-commerce, or you're considering to start and just hesitant to give in to the pace and to the fees that these platforms have. Kata lang, miss.
Oh, so that's it for our Q&A. Thank you so much, Rome, for educating us today. We'll see you again in the next session. That's next Thursday, November 12th.
Okay.
Right? November 12th. Okay. A big round of applause to our resource speaker, marketing expert and consultant, founder and CEO of Bisaya Digital, Rome Nicolas Bunsokan. And that's a wrap for our third session on digital marketing strategies for MSMEs. Thank you for joining us here today to learn and acquire new knowledge on digital marketing for MSMEs to thrive in the new normal. Let's give a warm applause to DTI Region 7 for initiating and organizing this online course, and for taking the time and effort to invite the best person to share his knowledge and wisdom on digital marketing. So if you enjoyed today's session, as well as our previous webinars, please do know that there are more webinars coming your way. November 10, Government Programs for Entrepreneurs. November 12, Content Marketing, using content to promote your brand. November 19, Social Media Marketing, using social media to connect with your customers. November 26, Facebook and Instagram marketing tips for MSMEs. December 3, Facebook ads for beginners to promote your products online. December 4, new digital marketing strategies to explore beyond 2020. All of these upcoming seminars are geared towards MSMEs. Through this webinar series, DTI Region 7 aims to help MSMEs grow their business, and thrive in the new normal. So come join us in our next session. That's next Thursday, November 12th, to make sure your business will flourish in the digital space. Again, thank you for joining DTI Region 7's third session entitled E-Commerce, How to Sell Your Business Online. For updates and more relevant webinars, like us on Facebook at DTI Region 7 Central Visayas. To rewatch our webinars, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, DTI 7 Digital. I'm Georgie Villamor saying that with perseverance and grit, your business will thrive in the digital space. Keep learning. Goodbye and stay safe, everyone.